And we have a breaking news coming in right now. In fact, a small fire has broken out at Trump Tower in New York City. The fire appears to be a minor one, which began early in the morning on the roof. Fire officials say it has been caused by an electrical box. No injuries have been reported so far, but remember, the skyscraper is the headquarters of the Trump administration. This is the breaking news coming in right away from New York City. In fact, a small fire seems to have broke on the rooftop of the Trump Tower in New York City. The fire appears to be a minor one, which began early in the morning on the roof. Fire officials say it has been caused by an electrical box. No injuries have been reported so far, but remember that the skyscraper is the headquarters of the Trump administration. And joining us is our colleague and correspondent Archit Sheshadri. Archit, thank you very much for joining us. What more can you give us on this?
Yeah, Daniele, early morning there in the United States. In fact, frigid temperatures in New York City as they deal with this cold snap there. So this fire, possibly, as we mentioned, reports coming in saying that it was some kind of electrical wiring, electrical malfunction that happening at the rooftop of the Trump Towers, where U.S. President Donald Trump worked there for several years before moving to the White House in Washington, D.C. At this point, no speculation of any kind of other incident. But what we do know, good news, is there's no injuries at this point. There's a 58-story building in the heart of New York City in downtown New York. Several fire crews on the roof there, as you can see, and on the ground evacuating people, making sure that there are no injuries and there is no loss of life. But again, the Trump Tower, a very prominent landmark in New York City, where U.S. President Donald Trump called home for several years before shifting to D.C. Again, at this point, it looks like it is under control. Smoke billowing out from the rooftop at the Trump Tower there in New York City. Of course, investigations will still continue. But again, the good news, as we pointed out, no injuries to report. Daniele?
Archit, how important is, you mentioned that this is where the Trump administration worked before Mr. Donald Trump became president. So how important is today for the Trump administration, the Trump Tower?
I think a lot of it is also just, it's sort of a symbol in New York City. I mean, the Trump Tower, you quickly associate that with business and the empire that U.S. President Donald Trump has. So it is a landmark of sorts in New York City with the gold ornaments, the statues there in that building. In fact, we were there when we covered the elections back in 2016. So the fact that, firefighters were able to quickly get there and put out the fire is certainly good news. And it looks like at this point it was an electrical malfunction, so arson at this point at least can be ruled out. So certainly, U.S. President Donald Trump is certainly one that has evoked a lot of political tensions, a lot of uneasiness, if you would like to call it, in the United States. So perhaps, that is a symbol that people know and they associate that with Donald Trump. And if they're unhappy with certain policies or initiatives, certainly in terms of seeking revenge or getting noticed, the Trump Tower is a key landmark in New York City. But it looks like at this point, it looks like some sort of electrical wiring issue at the rooftop there. And of course, it being early, we can assume that most people were not inside the building. It's still around 7:30 in the morning. So that is, one way to look at that. But yes, certainly an iconic landmark in the heart of Manhattan.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Archit Sheshadri helping us to understand better what is going on in New York, where a small fire seems to be going on.